wouldn't even try. I'm your girl for the whole wide world to see.
okay, is he a Christian? And she said, well, he's a good man. And I said, well, you can be good, but that doesn't mean you know the Lord. So she said, well, he prays. I said, okay, I'll go to him. So they did all my work on the telephone, all my insurance, set me up for a CT scan, and he wasn't going to be back in town until the 11th of December. And they called and gave me all these appointments and then told me I was to see him at 10 o'clock at the 11th, and on the 12th of December I would be going to surgery. It still, God took care of me. I never thought about cancer. Never. And so when I went up there on the 11th and seen him, he told me, Miss Marcy, you have cancer. And he said, we can't tell where it has originated from. The tumor is so big. And he said, do you have any questions? And I said, no, I don't have. And he looked at me and he looked at my husband and he said, she said, no, she doesn't have any questions. And he looked back at me and he said, are you all right, Miss Marcy? And I said, yes. And I said, before we go any further, Dr. Kilgore, I want to tell you I have this friend, forever friend, and his name is Jesus. And he has promised to take care of me and that he will never put any more on me that I can stand, and he'll always be there with me. I said, so I'm okay with it. And
wow.
He said, I have faith. And I said, I have peace and I have joy. I'm okay with this. And he looked at me and he said, I believe and I'm a praying doctor. And we thumbs up each other and said, okay, let's get it on. Go ahead and get this done. So I told my husband, he said, I need to tell you what I'm going to do to her since you don't want to know. And I said, it's in God's hands. So it ended up being stage 4 ovarian cancer. It had attached to my colon. They had to remove 8 inches of my colon. I was on intensive care. I mean, God was just all over this. I was only in intensive care for one night. That one night after I had it. The next morning I was moved up to the floor. I could not eat or drink anything for 5 days. Nothing but ice chips. I never got hungry. God took care of that. I never got hungry. The second day on the floor, God had me up walking me around. And through all this, even before I went to surgery, my prayer was, and still is, for people to be able to see God through me. That God would use me as his vessel to help other people and let them see the miracles that he performs. And
I can tell you right now, it's a miracle every time I watch the energy you put forth when you take care of the kids that you take care of in the Sunday school, and you are the most faithful worker when there's any kind of outreach going on of any woman I know of in our church. And you amaze me.
What most people don't understand, it's not me. It's God working through me. And I never ask God, why? Why me? Why did I get cancer? I've always, and I still feel this way, that I'm very honored and I'm very privileged that God chose me. He chose me to take on this journey with him. Not me go on this journey, but God wanted me to go on this journey with him. And I feel so honored and blessed that I am a chosen one. He's not forsaken me. I'm chosen. And I thank him for that. And whatever to reach people, if it's for my family, people I don't know, I'm willing to go through what God needs me to go through to get to whomever I am to witness to. Because, see, he's going to take care of me, gal. I have faith. I believe. and I stand on His promise.
You are the most faithful. I mean, this lady lives her faith every day. Is there any questions anybody has for Connie right now? Nope. Well, I can tell you, Connie is. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I don't have any questions right now. I just want to say that your testimony is very inspirational. I can only imagine how I would have reacted. And you are a true testimony to having faith in God and walking with Him no matter what. That's very encouraging, and I thank you for sharing that.
You know what? It's just, I'll tell you that. You think that's amazing? You know what is even more amazing than that? For 13 years, we only have one daughter, and for 13 years, I prayed for a grandchild. And like Gail said, I've worked with children for a long time, and I've been their nanas. I have been to. I kept them. I had a set of twins that come to church. Nobody would keep these two givers together but me and my husband. We had a ball with them. I got to go to Grandparents' Day, and I kept telling my daughter, just one grandchild. And we thought she couldn't have any, and she told me one day, I told her, I said, okay, I'm going to quit begging about it. I accept it. For some reason, God has chosen not to let me be a grandmother, but I'm okay with it. And my daughter said, Mama, you have so many grandchildren and so many children. You go to Grandparents' Day. You keep kids. You take them out to eat. You get them. You keep them. You take them. You sugar them up, and then you send them home. So I was okay with I was okay with that. But then my granddaughter, I had a granddaughter, November the 3rd, 2011. She was 1 year old, 1 month old, when I got diagnosed with this stage 4 ovarian cancer. And God's in control. I quit my job, and I had spent all that time with her, babysitter, me and my sister, and just God. It was just awesome. God always answers prayers, but it's in His time, not your time. And even when I got down sick, my first go around with cancer, I was only in remission for 9 months. But the first time, I got really, really sick at times, and couldn't eat and couldn't drink, and I lost so much weight. A size 2 was too big for me, and I couldn't live for 6 weeks after I come home from the hospital. And for about probably 6 months, I didn't really get to have a whole lot to do with her. And they would bring her to see me, but I would be so sick. But you know what? Still, every day, I praised God. I praised Him. I got allergic to medication. It caused me to have grandma's seizures. I had 3 in one day. Now I'm on medication for seizures the rest of my life, which I cannot take that cancer medication anymore because that's the good stuff. And but you know what? God's in control. He knew what was going to happen. He knew what I was going to go through. And it's just, He raises me up every day. And when I do get really sick, He lets me sleep through it. So if you ask me, what does it feel like to have cancer? I can honestly tell you, I don't know. I get tired. I have bad days. But do you have bad days? Do you get tired?
Sure.
Of course you do. So I can't say, hey, I got cancer, I'm tired. I don't blame anything on my cancer. You know, God raises me up, and when I need to rest, God lays me down. And it's just God. Everything is it's just God that does everything. And if there's anyone that's listening to me that you're going through a crisis in your life, if you don't know God, you need to get to know God. You need to let God take over your life and accept the circumstances He puts you in, because it's not His fault. It doesn't cause you to have this. It's the choices we make, and we all have sin in our life. No one is without sin. But God is a loving, forgiving God, and He uses circumstances to get you where He wants you to be, where He is able to use you to help other people. So
I think that's when you and I had our conversation, that's what just impressed me so much when you were telling me that you felt like you were chosen to have the cancer and have it come back, because there were people that needed to see that you can have this kind of disease and still love the Lord and have the Lord lift you up and carry you each day. And to me, that's very amazing, because I went through the cancer bit. Mine was much easier than yours. I had a cancer of the breast cancer, and they removed it. But you are right, Connie. When you have the Lord with you, and you go through something like cancer, I ended up being the person that was giving counsel to my friends who were more upset over it than I was. Because you get that peace that passes all understanding. And nobody understands it except people that have the Lord in their life and know that the Lord's in control.
You know what, Gail?
You just had some.
It's just, It's been harder on my family than it has me going through this cancer. And I was at church working today. You know, we're getting ready for the Thanksgiving feast, and this lady came in, and we were talking, and she's a widow, and her husband died with cerebral palsy. And we was talking about the different diseases, and I told her, I said, there's some terrible diseases out there. And I said, if the Lord had come to me and said, okay, Connie, I'm going to afflict you with a disease, which one do you want? She looked at me kind of funny, and she said, what would you have picked? I said, cancer. She said, what? I said, yeah, I would have picked cancer. And she said, why? I said, because for me, it's not been that bad. I said, cancer for me has not been that bad. And I said, I keep telling my doctor, I am not sick. Get over it. And I know when he came back, we knew it was coming back. But when he had to literally tell me that, you know, I was going to start taking treatments, and I started taking treatments again in the middle of March, I thought he was going to cry. And I said, Dr. Kilgore, it's okay. It's okay. I said, I still have that forever friend. You know what forever means? And he is still with me, and I still have my peace, and I still have hope, and I have my faith. Yeah. And he looked at me going, you know what, Connie? He said, if I live long enough, I'm going to come down with something. He said, I pray that I can have the courage and the faith that you have. And I said, you can have. Anybody can have it. I said, I'm not God's favorite or God's special. I said, God loves us all. It's just what we do and how we trust and believe in Him and know that our only hope is in Him, and He's the only one that can give us peace. And then I go through about chemotherapy once a week for about 4 months, and it didn't work. It just didn't work. So they changed me to a different one, about 4 months ago, and it wasn't working. So then when I went back last Wednesday for my chemotherapy, and they did the blood work, they called me Friday, and this one had started working. And when Dr. Kilgore said, this is not working, I said, Dr. Kilgore, just chill. We got time. You said it's slow acting. We got time. He said, yes, you do have time. So things are in God's time and not ours. God knows what he's doing. We don't. We just have to adjust our lives to whatever it is he wants to do through us.
Right. Hey, Carm, you think you could have the kind of tenacity that Connie has if you were put in the similar situation?
I'd like to say I would, but maybe toward the middle, but at the very beginning, no, I don't think so. I've been through a very tragic experience with losing someone in my life, with losing a spouse, and I can truly say that was the hardest thing in my life, but I gave it immediately to him. As soon as I realized what happened, I gave it immediately to him, and he gave me this peace that surpasses all understanding. So I know exactly what you're talking about, Connie, as far as that peace. You know, I'm talking to other people and encouraging them by just telling them how I feel. God's got me. I did everything I could as a wife. I was the best wife I knew how to be. And I did everything that I could. I had a great time with my husband, and I was fine. I was okay. I had good days and bad days, but I gave it immediately to him. I didn't try to handle it myself, and that's important. When you don't try to handle things on your own, give it to him and let God keep it. Don't take it back. A lot of people take it back, and I didn't, and I understand that piece. But as far as having the cancer, that's a different story. But eventually I would definitely give it to him. I would give it to him, but I have to remind myself.
You're a pretty grounded in the Word lady, so I think you'd probably do pretty well. Well, Connie, I know we are way past your bedtime, and I want to thank you so very much for giving us your rest time and letting us hear how even something as horrible as cancer can work in somebody's life to make it a wonderful thing instead of a bad thing. So if you want to go and get some rest, I just want to thank you for being on the show. And does anybody have any last-minute questions for Connie? I guess not, Connie.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on, Gail. And like we discussed at Bible study, God is leading me into this ministry, and I want to thank you for having me on so that I can share my testimony with people. And for the listeners out there, there is hope. And if you're going through, it doesn't have to be cancer, but God, and we learned this in our Bible study, God uses our circumstances to get us to where we need to be, and he speaks to us. And that's what he's done. And this is not the first crisis I've been through in my life, but I'm older. I'll soon be 62 years old. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot of hard lessons. But God has always been there for me, and he's always held me up, and he's always pulled me through. And I have learned to just, okay, here I am, God. Here I am. Whatever. We can do this. Just use me.
You're a wonderful lady. You are a wonderful lady.
No, God is an awesome God. And that's the only...
That's true.
That's what makes people what they are. If there's anyone out there listening that does not know God, I pray for you, because that's the only hope we have. The only hope we have is through God.
I agree.
The only way we're ever going to have peace, because it only comes from God. And I love you, Gail, and thank you very much.
I love you, too. Thank you so much. Go get some rest, and I'll see you tomorrow at the feeding.
No, we're finishing it ready tomorrow. Wednesday's a feeding.
That's right. Tomorrow we'll be filling up gravy bowls.
Oh, we did that today, most of them.
Oh, good. I hate the gravy bowls. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Connie. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Connie.
Before we talk to the next guest, and she's already on, I need to do some sponsor work here. So while I do the sponsor bits, if you would look up Romans 9:21, we're going to read that first, and then we're going to talk to the second one of my cracked pots, and her name is Nylane. So we will get to Nylane in just a minute. So if you'll go ahead and look up those, we'll be done soon.
Whether you're working in retail or real estate, with financial data or photos, your business depends on applications that run reliably and securely at a cost that scales with your needs. Amazon Web Services provides a complete set of cloud computing services accessed via the internet to help you build and run those applications. At AWS, we provide compute, storage, and database services which enable your organization to quickly provision the IT resources it needs without significant capital investment. In a few clicks, you'll be up and running. Reinvent the way you interact with technology with Amazon Web Services.
I love teaching Sunday school, but I was getting burned out preparing the lessons.
The hours of preparation were impossible.
Every week it was something different.
I was always piecing together my own curriculum.
Thankfully, I found Share Faith Kids.
Restore the joy teaching God's Word to kids with Share Faith's new cloud-based curriculum.
It's Sunday school like never before.
A 52-week set of courses tailored for Sundays, but great for vacation Bible school or other programs. Share Faith Kids is available anywhere, anytime you need it. Connect via Wi-Fi or 4G network to prepare, teach, and present Bible lessons from your phone, tablet, or computer. Display using your tablet, TV, or projector for lasting impact.
It's a breeze to prepare and a thrill to teach.
It's everything I need right here.
Each lesson is filled with memory verses, activities, a video Bible story, and God-centered application.
Share Faith Kids allows up to 10 accounts, giving teachers fresh ways to collaborate.
With this app, I can structure curriculum biblically, alphabetically, or I can create my own timeline.
The kids and I are loving it.
The kids are loving it. They go home encouraged.
With a deeper understanding of God's Word.
Afterwards, I feel so much better about the lesson that I taught.
I leave fulfilled, knowing that my lesson was easy to prepare, thorough, and God-centered.
Your church deserves a rewarding Sunday school program. Check out Share Faith Kids.
Share Faith Kids.
Share Faith Kids.
Share Faith Kids.
It's Sunday school like never before.
So we're back, and we are back with GG Talk Radio, and if you want to call in and be part of the show, then you can dial 908-316-8597 to be part of the chat. Now, my next guest, as I said, her name is Nylane, and she is calling us from her hospital bed, and she is one gutsy lady, I gotta tell you. Nylane, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Nylane, Nylane's story is a bit different to Connie's, or it was before she ended up in the hospital with heart problems. She was doing pretty well, and the world measures it, and then Jesus got a hold of her heart and changed all of her direction, and I want you to hear what she has to say about how God has changed direction and changed her life and turned her into a whole different vessel. You want to tell us about it, Nylane, even though you are from your hospital bed?
Well,
it's something. Your phone's not doing too well. It's You want to try turning it?
Can you hear me better now?
Oh,
Okay,
that's got it.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So,
well, I'm so happy to be on your show.
Well, first let me tell you we have some young ladies that are on the line with us. We have Carm, and Carm and I've been on several shows together, and then we also have her sisters, Sharon and Brittany, and Brittany's, is it Sandra that's in the 11th grade?
11th.
Okay, and Brittany, what grade is she in?
Actually, Brittany's in 11th grade.
Both of you are in the 11th grade?
No, actually, Amanda is 25, and Brittany, she's in 11th grade.
Amanda, okay. Okay, got it. Amanda and Brittany. Okay. Well, I'd like you to meet Nylane. Nylane's going to tell us about her walk with the Lord, and her life really changed big time when she came to the Lord, right, Nylane?
Yes, it did. I'm really glad to meet you girls. What happened to me, it was way back in my late 20s. Of course, earlier in my years, I wasn't introduced to church, through my family very much. I did get to go to Sunday school because I had a girlfriend in school, in grade school, that lived right down the road. She was a pastor's little girl. So she invited me, and I got introduced that way. But I never got really an introduction to Jesus. I never got that as a young girl. So I carried on, and then the world grabbed a hold of me. And by the time I was in my late 20s, I had a little girl of my own. I had her when I was 21. And I was so broken. I was so lost. I was so undone. I didn't know it. I didn't know it at that time. I just thought I had the world by the tail. I worked a couple jobs. I was just running rapid. I was doing what the world was doing. I was running in places I shouldn't have run in. And as my little girl grew, for some reason, laugh out loud, the Lord would send, and I didn't know it was the Lord then, He would send these church people over to my house to pick up my little girl for vacation Bible school. Well, she wanted to go, and I needed some time by myself, so she went to vacation Bible school every summer. I didn't go. They didn't ask me. Most of them didn't ask me. I think they kind of knew I wasn't going. And as she grew, she got older. She loved to go to church. So when she was 8 years old, she came to me and she goes, "Mom, why don't you go to church with me?" Well, what she didn't know was that for probably 6 months before that question came to me from her, the Lord had been working in my heart. I had been kind of having some difficulties in the world. Because, see, if you're going to live in the world, you're going to pay the price, the penalties of the world. And He'd been speaking through me, and I didn't know it. So she says, "Mom, you'll love this church." Because I hadn't been yet, but they'd been taking her. They got music and everything, Mom. They even have a guitar, and they've got a drum set. And I remember looking down at her, and I couldn't bear to tell her, but I said to myself, "It's kind of not the music I usually listen to." And I couldn't resist. I'm sorry, I just have to keep clearing my throat here, but she asked me the next Sunday, and I'll tell you, the Lord gave me that little girl for a reason. He knew that I would love her, and do anything for her. So the second Sunday when she asked, Mom, please come with me, I went. And the town that I was living in at the time was a town that I had graduated from school in. So a lot of people knew me. They knew what streets I ran. And I showed up at the church, and of course I knew the building was just going to fall in when I came in. Every eye was watching me. But she drug me to probably the fourth pew back from the front. And I sat there with her, and I got to hear the word. For the first time, I got to hear about Jesus. And I will tell you something I know about right now, is that every one of us is born. We're all born with that need, that want, that desire to have him in our heart. And it was the 6th Sunday. Now, that's not a coincidence either. I've thought a lot about that. It was the 6th Sunday that I went. Now, my hands had grabbed that pew a couple Sundays before. But that 6th Sunday, the word had melted my heart. And I hit that altar. I can't even tell you. I know exactly when it happened and how it happened. It was in April 1st. I was 31 years old. My hands just let go of that pew, and I don't know how I got down there, but I was on my knees, and I asked the Lord to forgive me, and that whole church rose up. I'll never forget it. They rose up in rejoicing. It was like it says in the Bible that the angels were singing, and the whole church roared. I bet they were just wondering when I was going to go. And I'll tell you what, I stood up. When I stood up, it was like a weight fell off my shoulders and my head raised for the first time. See, I used to walk around with my head down, and my eyes glared up because I wanted to watch everybody else. I didn't want nobody to see me. And I didn't even realize it. I was hiding in the world. I had no joy. I had no peace. That's why it was so good to hear Connie talk about that joy and that peace. I can remember standing in the line at the grocery store, just waiting there, looking at the bubble gum, and a parent would turn around and look at me and grab her kids and pull them forward away from me. I wasn't even doing anything. Well, that kind of tells you what I was looking like. But I'll tell you, and then not just that, but the people, when they came down and shook my hand and hugged me, oh, I felt the love. I knew that the Lord had entered into my soul. And it wasn't just a testimony of what he did for me. What was so neat was I got to hear the testimony of all the people that were there waiting and watching and praying for me. They said, Nylane, when you stood up, this whole church saw a light. That's why we were on our feet, because we knew we saw the Spirit of the Lord enter your body, and your head came up and your eyes shined. And we've never seen your head that high.
Okay, now you have gotten saved, thanks to your daughter dragging you to church. But your life is about to change quite a bit from then to now.
Yes, my life changed dramatically.
I want them to know what your life is like now and what you are doing and how you are living for the Lord.
When I got saved, my life and my heart completely turned. My daughter and I went home. We poured out all the beer in the refrigerator. She broke all my cigarettes, and we had a good time. And the Lord spoke to me. And I could not go for another conversation with anyone where you were, if you were talking to me, you were going to be talking about Jesus. And that's just the way it was. My brother, my whole family saw a change in me. And the Lord spoke to me, and he said, you have got to give things up for me. If you're going to follow me, you're going to get simple. So I knew I was going to have to change what I looked like. Of course, it used to take me 2 hours just to put my makeup on and my hair. Now I barely wear makeup. I never do my hair. I just know that I just need to be clean and presentable to the Lord. And I gave up a lot of visual effects in my look, but not in my spirit. So
just so you ladies will know, she's actually got very, very pretty hair. It might not be teased up and twirled up, but it is very pretty and shiny, and it looks very good. She's making herself seem like she's a hag, and she's not. She's a lovely lady.
But I threw away a lot of the makeup. I didn't need to present myself that way. And the Lord gave me beauty from within, and I felt that, and that's what I took to shine through. But then it went further, and some people got worried about me. They really did. The Lord just impressed upon me that less is more. So for the past 22 years, I stepped out on faith as less is more. I owned property. I haven't paid rent since I was probably 22 years old, because I've always been taught, that if you buy a piece of property, it's cheaper. And that was something the Lord had in my life before I got saved, because He knew where I was going to go. He knew what I needed as a foundation. So I took the properties and I sold them, and I moved down here to Tennessee. I've been here in Tennessee for 22 years, and I moved here with the intention to show and live a life of simplicity, to show other people that less is more, that you can be just as happy and have just as much by having nothing. So I've been living off-grid. I have not had electricity, running water, or a septic for 22 years. I haven't had a TV. I get real excited about a TV when I see one, which is kind of crazy, but I try to stay away from.
So you're kind of liking being in the hospital where you have only the TV to watch.
Yeah, it's been crazy because I have actually found myself not watching the TV. I'm too busy, reading or on the phone, trying to talk to my family about the situation I'm in right now. But with all that, and I cut wood. I was cutting wood. I've always burnt wood for heat. I found this new strength that the more I challenged myself, really the better I felt. I've always been pretty healthy. And I think I took that for granted. I really took that for granted. That was one of the things I think that the Lord has been working with me here, especially lately. It's not about how strong I am. It's about how strong He is through me. And so I'm still learning. But I know that living the way I've lived for the past 22 years, I have been able to talk to so many people about them being held captive in their own homes. If you've got an electric bill, you've got a gas bill, you've got a water bill, you get a car payment. I haven't had a car payment. I can't even remember. If you got all these payments, you're captive. You are a prisoner of your own home. Every penny you make goes to your home. And I knew the Lord wanted me to be free. So I bought property down here. And I made some mistakes. Instead of coming down here buying me a couple acres, came down here and bought 110. But He quickly showed me that it didn't need that amount of acreage. So I downsized to 37. Well, He quickly showed me I didn't need 37 acres. So now I have 2.5 acres. I live in a small wooden cabin with a wood stove, and I'm just happy as I can be. I used to have solar panels on the back of my house, so I could charge my phone and charge my computer. But now I don't even use my solar panels. I can charge my phone in the car. I can charge my computer at the laundromat, which I only go to about every 2 weeks. And he's also given me time because I don't have to work as much. I don't have to make as much money. So that gives me time to go to church, to fellowship, to be with him, to read more about him. And that's what he wants from me. He wants
Does
my
anybody
attention.
right now have any questions for Nylane before I tell you what her ministry is? Carm, you got any questions of somebody that lives off the grid?
I've seen shows about living off the grid. I commend you for it. I can't be that simple, not for that long, because that's a huge commitment. I'm just in awe of your story. I need electricity more than that. I need to be on the grid.
You what?
She also has animals. She's got three dogs, and a couple of cats. But when you've got acreage and you live in a cabin, that's fine.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about what Nylane has been doing for the last 2 or 3 years, and that's God impressed on her that she needed to serve people in the health industry. So first thing she did was enroll in nursing school. And she used all of her money that she had left from her property to put herself through nursing school. We met Nylane when she was getting ready for her finals on her last year of nursing school. And as she said, she lives off the grid. You can't imagine how hard it is when you live off the grid and it's winter and you have to make sure that you have enough wood to go through the night,
water,
and you don't have electricity so that you can study for your finals, and water that you have to bring in from your cistern with a bucket. It's hard work. And I happen to live next door to Nylane's professor. And she said, I have this wonderful student that is top of the class, and I know she's not going to make it unless she lets someone help her. Well, Nylane happened to be going to my church. So I sat her down and I said, Nylane, you have to come live with us until you graduate, or you're not going to make it. And you want to know how God works? Nylane broke into tears. She had used her last piece of wood and her last bit of water, and she didn't know what she was going to do. She came to church that Sunday, and I insisted that she live with us, and she accepted. That was the first time she had ever accepted any help from anyone except the Lord.
That was a God thing. That was a God thing.
That was a God thing. So we got to know Nylane through the 3 months she lived with us, so she could finish her work that she needed to do for to graduate from nursing school, because she plans to use that as her ministry on the mission field.
And the craziest thing was that at that time, I had lost my car. My car had broken. So there I was without a vehicle. Gail would take me back to feed the dogs and take water to them every day, and then take me to school. And he has opened doors for me like that I just know that the direction that I'm going in is just what he wants me to do. And the 3 months I spent there with Gail, and Ron that had my own bedroom. I could not believe what they set me up with. I was able to use my computer to study, and I studied a lot. I don't think they ever thought I was coming out of that bedroom. But the Lord got me.
Well,
through
she turned into our child. So now we have a child in Tennessee.
But I graduated from nursing school. And
she was smart enough to know that God was handing her a gift, that He wanted her to finish school. He wanted her to complete His work in her life. And she was smart enough to realize and listen to her heart to know that God was handing her this gift. He's the one that put that in our heart. He's the one that put us next door to the person that told us about Nylane. She went to my church. I didn't know her. I knew her only through my next door neighbor.
It was crazy. And also, the Lord will place people in your life like that. And He'll drop them right down like a bomb. And it's just been a blessing to have, Gail and Ron in my life. They'll always be in my life. They'll always be a part of my life. And the lady that lives next door, my professor, she will too. So it's just a journey for me, and it's so neat to watch everything he does. And I used to just think it was just happening. Life's just happening. No, it's not. When you start watching, you can see him working. And I know it's, as soon as I get everything taken care of as far as my NCLEX and my tests and everything, I will take my nursing on the mission field. I've already been to Ecuador on a nursing trip, and I want to go out to Navajo and use my nursing. I just want to work for the rest of whatever life he gives me, even if it's just through tomorrow. I want to be able to share what the Lord's done for me. My family is one of my biggest testimony people. They watched my change. They might not have been happy with it, but they all know I'm better off now. And they see me happier. They see me more joyful, like Connie was saying. And love is something I really didn't know. I thought it was something I was just supposed to get. And now I can love deeper, I can love stronger and further. And he keeps opening doors. Like right now, I'm laying in my hospital bed. It's pretty cool. I got to talk to several people already about the Lord. When I told the nurse I was going to be on a little talk show, she says, "Oh," and she asked me what it was about. I told her it was about testifying for what the Lord has done for me. And she goes, "Praise the Lord!" So I've got Christians around me. I've got the love of Jesus here. Talked to another little nurse that had lost her baby when she was only 2 years old, and we got to share with that, and I assured her that as long as she was ready and prepared herself in the Lord, she'd go home and see that baby. And she snuck back in and talked to me for a little later last night. That was fun. But
well, now, Nylane, you know why you're in the hospital.
Unfortunately,
it's not for you; it's for other people.
Nope. and that's the way I've learned. Since I've been saved, that I wasn't born here to see how many toys I can collect. I was put here to see how many souls I can let know about the Lord, because then I can meet them all in heaven. And it just gets a lot. I don't know. It's so much simpler. For a lot of people look at me where I live, and like Gail has said, "Oh, it's hard. That's what they see. I got a big smile on my face when she was saying, "You just don't know how hard it is." I get a big smile because it's not as hard as it is having the worry about my electricity being cut off, about making more money so I can pay a company that keeps my water and my gas on. It's not as hard as that, because I have a peace that as long as I can go get my wood for the winter, and I can do that in the summer. But when I was in nursing school, yeah, I needed to bow, and I needed to let the Lord help me, and He did. And now that I've got a little problem with my health, guess what? The Lord's showing me that the strength's going to be in Him again. And I'm going to need to bow, and I'm going to need to ask for help. And I think that's something He's teaching me right now. I don't need to be the strong one like I always have been. I need to be a blessing to somebody, because I know what it feels like to help someone. I love to help people. You guys love to help people? How does it make you feel? Yeah. You get a blessing, don't you? Yeah.
Yes, it feels great to help someone who didn't have the resources or means to do it themselves, or help teach someone a new skill so they can help themselves.
Yeah. And that's just, I'm learning that more and more. So if I let someone help me, what it does for them. Isn't that great to know what it does for them? And that's what I'm learning, to let people help me, because they'll get a blessing. And then I get the blessing to watch them get a blessing. It's like a double thing, you know?
I can also tell you through Nylane's way of life, it has assisted her in making sure that her 4 grandsons also have come to the Lord.
Yes.
And
my grandsons love me so much.
Because they love to come out and camp out at Grandma's. And being part of nature has afforded Nylane the wherewithal to communicate with these boys on their level and show them what God is. And 2 of the 4, because 2 of them are still, I know 2 have definitely accepted Christ as their Savior. Has the 3rd one done it yet?
He has. I think he has just gotten lost just towards the end of the summer, because you can't get saved until you're lost.
Just got old. Yeah, got old enough to
realize.
Maybe know what it is. Yeah. And then she's got one that's way too young.
4. He's just 4.
But he's watching his brothers, and you can tell he wants to be like his big brothers. So I think that's going to be something.
The little 4-year-old sings about Jesus now. He does sing about Jesus too.
Oh yeah, these boys talk and sing about Jesus a lot, and
they're awesome.
I don't think if Nylane was living somewhere else that maybe that would have happened, because all of them have given their life. The 2 have given their life to Christ while they were visiting Grandma in the summer.
I've had those boys every summer since they've been very young. I get them for the whole 3 months. And the greatest thing is we don't have a TV. We don't have any distractions. So we go to church every Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday night, and Vacation Bible School, various Bible schools. And that's what they have. They have my undivided attention. Grandma's not trying to, scrub the dishes in the house in a corner. She's outside at the picnic table while they're doing crafts about Jesus, washing dishes right in front of them. And we're going to the woods and having walks and looking at the creation the Lord's made for us. It's given me their undivided attention. We're sitting there shooting a .22 over at a tree with a target on it. What more can a boy want? And then to love me as much as they do, and for me to be able to stand and show them, Jesus, and say, this is this is what is expected of you. It's just been amazing to watch him work in their lives. You know,
it has been.
It has been. It's just been awesome. It's something I'll never, give. It's just something I'll cherish forever. If any of you have children, oh my goodness, turn the TV off. Read them the Bible stories. Take them outside. Find the shells. Build an altar in the backyard with a couple rocks. Don't let them watch TV. Don't let them be off by themselves. We pray before every meal. Pray before we go to bed. And they would talk to me while laying in bed. It's dark. And they'd start opening up after we pray. And I'd listen. You wouldn't believe what the little hearts of little boys can say. And the questions they want answered. And it's the time to do it.
That's right.
Quietness and the hammocks. We swang in the hammocks, 2 hammocks in the trees, and oh my goodness, just the joy in the play. It's time specific, and that's what I've realized in this little short life. Time specific. We don't have much time to breath, to breathe. I'm sitting here right now in my hospital bed, and I might not have much longer, but all I know is since the Lord changed my heart, I'm going to be good either way. If I'm still on the side of the grass, I'll be great. If I'm on the other side of the grass, I'll be in the light, which will be way above the grass.
Thank you, Nylene. That was just wonderful. Carm or Brittany or any of y'all have any questions about Nylene and her life?
You can ask me anything.
Well, she's quite a lady to know.
You can ask me anything you want.
Thank you, Nylene. You need to get some rest. You've been doing a lot of talking, and your nurse told you not to. So I'm telling you not to also. I want you to get some rest, and I will, as soon as you find out what time the procedure is, I'll be with you tomorrow.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. You guys have a good evening. Godspeed.
Okay. You too. Thanks.
Okay, bye.
Okay, ladies. We've had a couple of 2 different types of cracked pots. When I started thinking about this and reading and listening to what the preacher had to say about remolding and remaking us, have any of the 3 of you had a similar experience where you feel like God was remolding you or remaking you into something He wanted to use you for?
I would definitely say yes. Nothing is the extreme of having cancer, but just even when I was younger, I was all about me, what I want to do, and God set me down and showed me this is not the way that you should be, and He started ministering to me, and I had a few friends that were really into church, and they would talk to me and share their knowledge, but it's something to find out for yourself, to experience God stepping into your life and doing things for you and knowing that it's Him. It's not just, oh, you got lucky. There's no such thing as luck. It's God blessing you, giving you favor, mercy, and grace. So I've definitely seen Him working in my life.
I would think God blessed you tremendously when you lost your husband to have given you that peace. That's a very hard thing to go through, and it does remake and reshape your life and your thinking. I don't know if I would have been as faithful as you were through that type of a change in my life. I'm wondering how you did that.
It was God. It was not me. If it was me, I would have lost my mind. I just would have. I wouldn't be able to handle and process that. It was definitely God, and God just worked it all out. I mean, it couldn't have gone any better than the way that it did. My job reached out to me. People I really didn't talk to that much said, okay, I've got this, I'll handle this, I'll handle that. They were just great, and things just got handled.
So God had
really had
everything in place for you to help you go through that without you even realizing that those things were in place when you needed until you needed them.
Exactly.
That's an awesome thing to see the things. Yeah, that's an awesome thing. My husband and I see God move in our lives each and every day, and they aren't little things. They are miraculous things. And it can only be God. And usually when God does his work, it's because nobody else can do it. And you know that it couldn't be done unless he's the one that did it. Well, I want to let you know that next Monday night, we're going to talk about, and the younger girls might like this, whether or not you have ever had your Prince Charming turn into a frog with warts. Start thinking about the guys you've dated and the guys you've gone out with, and whether he seemed like a wonderful Prince Charming to start with and ended up having a frog with warts. And I'm going to have a guest on that definitely had one of those. And I think you'll enjoy. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Her testimony will knock your socks off. And I would like to know, is there any subject that you ladies might like to have talk about on the show before we look at that Romans before we sign off? Do you have any topics you might like to talk about? Well, think about it. Let me know next week. In the meantime, we never got around to reading our Romans 9:21, so we probably need to do that. It's Romans 9, chapter 9. Go to the 21st verse, and then we're going to go read the 21st verse, and then we're going to skip down to the 23rd verse, because they kind of go together. They're talking here about God's sovereignty to make choices for us. And they're the things that we've been talking about, how God's leading us and putting things in our life that we are going to need so we can do his will. And that's what Nylene has gone through. In Romans 9:21, it says, "Does not the potter have the right to make out of the same lump of clay some pottery for noble purposes and some for common use?" And then down in 23 it says, "What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom hath prepared in advance for glory?" So he apparently, because he's the potter, he prepares, and I think, Carm, this is what he did for you. He prepared people in advance to be there for you, to lead you to where you needed to go when you had your tragedy. Because he needed to shape your life, and he didn't want you falling apart. So he says right here, as the potter, because he's molding you, he's going to make the things available so that he can get the glory in your life and not us. With Nylane, she was living a life where she was getting the glory. And he knocked her down and said, no, you are going to be my glory. The things you have aren't. And she's working now 100% for him, just like we all should. Any comments?
Definitely agree with you. God definitely knows how to get your attention. And once he gets your attention, then you're on fire for him. And he does prepare the way for you. If you give it to him,
he does.
He will take care of you. You just have to believe and trust in him. And sometimes he has to knock you down to get your attention, unfortunately.
Oh, yes. He does. And right now, he has Nylane in a hospital bed, and I think that's because she was focusing way too much on, I've got to get my license, I've got to get a job, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, doing the mechanics again of starting her new life and trying to take the steps away from God. So he said, okay, you need to step back and let me handle it again. So now she's now back to, I have to rely totally on God to handle my life and my situation right now. And she's doing that. And it's so wonderful to see somebody like you, Carm, and like Connie, and like Nylane, who have spent your life and gone through your tragedies and your problems, relying on God to bring them through. And Christ has lifted you up and carried you through everything. And you are relying on him to bring you through your life. And I pray that everyone will do that in their life, that they will see the miraculous things apparently you, Carm, and I have seen in our lives every day, that you step back and you say, I know why that's happening, or I know why that happened. God was leading me there. And it's such a wonderful feeling to know God's walking beside you each and every day.
Yes, it is.
So, we will, next week, talk about frogs and princes. And I want to thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. It was wonderful to have you on the show. And I thank you for supporting me on my maiden voyage, even though I might have made a few mistakes with the wrong buttons I pushed.
You're fine.
Yeah, I did push a wrong button. I'm not going to tell you which one it was, but I did. I'm sure Deuce will be sure and let me know. Oh, I hope you have a really, really good rest of the evening and a wonderful Thanksgiving. And you're going to have lots of good stuff to eat and lots of family around?
Yes, I plan on eating well. I'll be cooking, so I know I'll be eating well.
Oh, good. You have a big family? Well, you got two sisters. Yes, you do.
Well, I have a big family. However, I am in a different state. I've moved from Arkansas, so I'll see my family for Christmas.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, my family's in Ohio, up in Ohio. Well, my son and his family in Ohio. But we see them at Christmas, so the people next door are also in the same situation we are, where they see their children at Christmas time. So we decided when we moved to Tennessee, we were going to just make it a nice big family Christmas with us and them. So we have the people next door and their son and us and Nylane, who's our surrogate daughter, and we just all get together and have a big family Christmas just with the friends and that we have here. And then Christmas, we go and spend time with our son and his family.
Well, that's
so it sounds like we're all going to have a really thankful, nice Thanksgiving. Can you think of things you might be, well, you've got lots to be thankful for, it sounds like, Carm. What about your sisters?
Oh, yes, I do. They have quite a bit of things to be thankful for. I mean, just having another day, that's thanks enough right there, and salvation. Hey.
Oh, yeah.
But,
that's a biggie. So Amanda's 25?
Yes.
Yeah, Brittany's in the 11th
yes,
grade.
25.
Great.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a really nice. I wish you could see them for the holidays, but that's all right. Okay, Christmas is coming.
That's right. A few weeks away, actually. Not that long.
Yeah, not very far. I know. Time you get your corn and everything out and fruit out in the outside where you get your straw and everything out, you got to take it down and put up your Christmas tree. You don't have much time between. So I hope you all have a really great Thanksgiving, and thank you very much. And I look forward to us having fun next week. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us, and happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.